Hello there, welcome. It's Lee Ashton and it's Wednesday at 12:30, which means our Making Sales Easy Facebook Live. And today I really want to explore the topic of learning and the impact of learning on your sales. It is probably one of the biggest barriers if you don't continually strive to develop yourself as in order to really enhance and grow and learn new skills. So Brian Tracy, a stat I read many years ago from Brian Tracy, is that if you read for 30 minutes a day on a given topic, within 3 years you will be an expert in that topic, and within 7 years you will probably be quoted in the press. Now that is outstanding, and it had a really big impact on me all those years ago. Now, whilst your challenge may be sales, you know, I absolutely love sales, and the reason that I am such a ferocious consumer of books and go to as many workshops as I can, I do it because I love the topic. But when I am challenged by something, I also turn to books or workshops to learn that thing, whatever that thing is. So if you want to become a better version of yourself each and every day, the only way that you are going to do that is to learn new things and develop your confidence to try new things, put your learning into action. So, you know, many of you will have heard me quote that never compare yourself to others, only to the you of yesterday. And the only way you can do that is to reflect on what you've achieved in any given day and ask yourself at the end, you know, what will I do differently tomorrow? Now, you can come up with ideas without consuming material, for sure, of course you can. But when you read books or read blogs or go to a workshop, it triggers your thinking into new thoughts, or you might hear something or read something and think, I've never thought of it that way, or I'd never thought of doing it like that. So I want to focus today on the one thing that I think probably has the biggest impact on my development as a human being, and also in respect of the way I communicate with people, the way I connect with them, the way that I generate sales in my business. Sorry, that hair is getting on my nerves. Let's just move it out of the way. Hopefully it will stay there now. Now, my thing, and this may not be your thing, but my thing is audiobooks. I have always got an audiobook that I am listening to, and over the years I cannot tell you how many books I have consumed. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't like reading physical books. In fact, I have gazillions of physical books, but I can't always read a physical book, whereas I can generally always listen to an audiobook. So I might be preparing my dinner or lunch or exercising, and I can't actually read a physical book when I'm doing that, but I can listen, or I can be in the shower and then I can listen to an audio book. So for me, audiobooks have the greatest flexibility, and if you do lots of driving, then they are absolutely ideal. And the great thing is that you can get practically every book on audio now, except my own. I know. I will get around to it soon, I promise. So I'm going to share with you some of the books that I really love and the reason that I really love them. And you may be surprised that most of the books that I consume are not business books. They're not necessarily sales books. They are what I would call maybe personal development books, so that I can be a better human being, because I think a better human being makes a better communicator, a better salesperson, a better business owner. So I don't think it's necessary to read lots of business books in order to be great at business. I don't think you need to read lots of business blogs or anything like that, because whilst I think you pick up snippets everywhere. You know, watching a child wanting a bar of chocolate and its mum doesn't want to buy the bar of chocolate, that is a great aid to negotiation, because they generally get their bar of chocolate, right? For all you mums out there, you probably know that most often they will get the chocolate. So I'm going to share with you some of the books, and I've had to write a list because I've got so many. Now, this is a business and life book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. That book I didn't read for ages. I've only read it in recent years, even though I had it on my bookcase for so long. It has got some incredible practical advice on how to get through life, how to maneuver through life, how to be a great parent, how to be good in business, how to prioritize your tasks. So if you haven't read that yet, absolutely go and get that book or download it on Audible. The book that I recommend most when I'm doing a training, when people often, because my training is predominantly around sales mindset. So one of the books that I recommend so often is Your Brain at Work by David Rock, which explains to you what happens in your mind when you get anxious about something, and how getting anxious leads to a destination that you probably don't want, or probably isn't where you want to be. It's, it may go more and more wrong, So what David Rock does in his book is he explains a situation where someone is getting anxious and they make this choice instead of this choice, and that sends them down the wrong path. And then he explains what's going on in your mind at those times, and then he reenacts that so that the person is going, okay, so that's what's going on in my mind, that's why I'm feeling a little bit anxious, let's make this choice to get back on track. It's an absolutely excellent book, and it's super easy to read. Now, if you've got issues around anxiety or anger, then a book that you might be interested in is The Chimp Paradox by Dr. Steve Peters. Now, that is a great book too, and it talks about the chimp brain, which works 200 times faster than your logical brain. So once the chimp is activated, it really is quite difficult to get that chimp back in the cage. It probably takes about 20 minutes after you've removed yourself from the situation. So the chimp paradox is really great if you struggle with anxiety or anger issues. Now, anything by Malcolm Gladwell, I absolutely love Malcolm Gladwell's books. And what he does is he takes facts that are already out there in the world and presents them in a way that you think, yeah, I could use that. The Tipping Point was the first book that I read of his, and I learned all kinds of things that I use in business today. Like, did you know that as soon as a business gets to over 150 members of staff, it becomes unruly and really difficult to manage and control what happens in that business? So that's why lots of really large organisations have different locations with a maximum of 150 people in those buildings. So who knew? But he's written some great books, David and Goliath, Outliers. Anything by him is really, really interesting. I mean, I could tell you lots of interesting facts, but I'm nearly at 10 minutes. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was in a concentration camp in the Second World War, and he was a psychiatrist. And he noticed that the people that survived were the people that had a purpose. So, for example, people who said, we must tell the world what is happening here. This must never happen again. And it's a fabulous book on the mind and psychology. So for me, reading or consuming books that help me be more in tune with being a human being, not a human doing, is always going to develop your skills. So I'm going to take one more minute just to quickly read through anything by Seth Godin, because he's the marketeer of, he's a marketing god. I really love Daniel Pink too. To Sell is Human is really a fabulous book. So if you want a book specifically about sales and you've already read mine, you'll see that his book actually is very similar to mine, but obviously it's his perspective. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. That's also an awesome book. Now, The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown is amazing. Why is it amazing? Because it allows you to know that actually it's okay not to know. It's okay to say, can somebody help me? Because out of vulnerability comes creativity. It's impossible to be creative unless you're vulnerable, because you can only be creative when you don't know how it's going to work out. New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Now, that may be a challenge to listen to for some people. I loved listening to that when I listened to it. His voice is interesting, so check out the sample before you download that if you're going for Audible. And I also loved, in terms of biographies, Steve Jobs' biography, the one by Walter Isaacson, is excellent. And I've recently read the Nike guy, Phil, oh wow, I can't remember, I'll have to look on my phone. Phil Knight, that's it. The Nike, his Memoirs of Phil Knight is absolutely brilliant. And I, honestly, as a business owner, I really resonated with a lot of what he said, and there were many tears as I listened to that. So here's just a handful. If you have any books that have really helped you, then please do share them in the comments below. There are so many books I've yet to read, so I'd also be really interested. I may even have them and just haven't got around to them. But anyway, for the next 2 weeks, I will not be doing Facebook Live because next Wednesday I go on holiday, so I won't be around. But feel free to share stuff amongst yourselves, and obviously if you have any questions at all about anything I've said today, then put them in the comments below and I'll answer them. If you want a book about a particular thing, then also ask questions and I'll recommend any books that I have consumed and let you know if they're going to be helpful to you. But remember this, the more you learn, the more you earn. And that's simply because as you learn and flourish and grow, you develop yourself, and that makes you more resourceful and better able to deal with stuff that comes your way. Anyway, have a great day, a great rest of the week, and a great weekend. And I will speak with you in a couple of weeks. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.